what I'll do now is I'll show you a little bit in the web UI. What does that look like when artifacts come in? So here we go. So what I will do is I will go into an org of my own, and I will go look at artifact collection. So showing you artifact collection here, you can see that I have artifact collection rules, as I mentioned, as I showed before in a use case. So this is where you would create those rules. And in this case, I only have 2 Windows event logs, but I also have a rule for Linux. So if I look at Linux, I return for 30 days syslog and off.log. And I specify the .1 value so that I only get it, when it's rotated and it's a clean version every day, I get 1 clean version. So this is a good example of some basic rules to collect common, common things that are useful. And then here's at the bottom, you get kind of a small preview of here's what artifacts came in recently and their status, right? So I can see that from this, so I know this is actually an LCNet client. I see that I got a PCAP coming in. It will be retained until the 12th, so it's just a couple of days. It's indexed, so meaning LimaCharlie recognized it, generated the JSON, and it went through the DNR rule. So that whole thing went through. I can open it up to have a look if I want. So by default here, what I clicked is to view the parsed version. A PCAP obviously is binary data, so it's not trivial to kind of look at. So here I clicked to view the parsed version, and if I go and I see essentially every packet, and I open up one packet and I can see all the flags, all the bits of metadata that are related to it, right there. And that's what, if you create a DNR rule, this is what it's going to operate against. But I also see the Zeek logs right around the same time. So that's because I have a Zeek rule that I'll show you right after this. So I can see that, here's all the files that my Zeek log generated. So maybe I will go and open up the con. So con.log, which is kind of one of the basic connections log reported by Zeek, and we parse it and we make it into a JSON. So they're kind of log lines while in Zeek format. So it becomes a flat JSON in LimaCharlie. So again, that's if you create DNR rules, you'll be able to apply them at this level. They'll vary by the type of log file that Zeek generates. For example, ssl.log, if I recall, will have a bunch of the certificates that we've seen going over the wire. So that's pretty useful as well. DNS will contain DNS, all that stuff. But I can also download the original and download the parsed from this UI as well. If I go in the DNR rules, and I go all the way to the bottom, you can see I have my Zeek rule that I mentioned earlier. Really straightforward. I just created that, and now I don't have to worry about it. All the PCAPs coming in just go straight in Zeek. So that's kind of at a high level, artifact ingestion. Obviously, there's a ton of other things that you could craft using artifact. If you have specific formats of artifacts, specific types of artifacts, please do get in touch with us and let us know. It's usually fairly easy for us to add a new parser in a day or two kind of thing. And then from that point on, it's just automatically recognized.